Yo guys, what is up? This is the Real Redneck American, and this is the beginning of a new series here on my channel. These are way too early game by game predictions for each NFL team. Now yes, I understand this is quite early, but in today's episode I will be predicting the Cleveland Browns game by game. So in week 1, the Cleveland Browns will start off the season with a home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and last year in week 17 the Browns were really close to winning a game, and unfortunately they couldn't do it. They lost to the Steelers, but obviously with the first pick this year they drafted Baker Mayfield. Now I believe Tyrod Taylor will probably start most of the season, if not all of it, and obviously he's going to be the starter week 1. And in week 1, I hate to do it, but I've got the Browns losing this game 31-17. I believe it's going to be a close game. The first half, maybe a 10-10 ball game the first half, but in the second half, the Steelers' offense explodes and takes over. But remember, the Browns did take the Steelers' offensive coordinator, who I believe got fired possibly. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I believe that he's just not going to be able to do enough. The Steelers pick up the win. Week 2 is a really tough road game. The Saints are always a very tough team to play on the road. And obviously with Drew Brees, I've got the Browns getting dominated in this game, 41-13. The Saints defense is really underrated. It's actually really good. And, I just don't see the Browns being able to win the game, So I'm sorry, Browns fans, but you're going to lose to the Saints 41-13. Week 3, though, at home against the Jets, and this is a Thursday night football game, and you're at home against the New York Jets, and I've got the Browns picking up their first win here, 24-17. Cleveland beats the New York Jets. I'm giving the Browns a win here. Maybe it's slightly biased since I'm a Dolphins fan, but I think the Jets are going to lose that ball game. Week 4, though, they're playing at the Raiders. New head coach John Gruden. I don't think the Browns are going to quite pull this off. 34-28 Raiders win. I do think the Browns offense is really starting to come together, though. And it all shows out in week 5 at home against the Ravens. The Ravens are a pretty good defense. I've got the Browns winning this game 27-10. And I think this is the game where Joe Flacco really shows that, maybe he really is aging. I think he throws a couple of picks against a pretty underrated Browns secondary, in my opinion. Really underrated defense in Cleveland. And their offense, I think it's going to be quite improved. But maybe it won't show this year as much. But yeah, I've got the Browns pretty much dominating the Ravens at home, as the Browns improved to 2-3 on the season. They have already doubled their wins from the last 2 seasons combined. So look at that. The Browns are up and coming. Next game, at home against the Chargers. The Chargers are the only team the Browns have beaten in the last couple of years. Unfortunately, I think the Chargers get their revenge here, though. I've got the Browns losing this game 20-17, which I actually believe was the same score the Browns beat the Chargers 2 years ago. But 20-17 loss for the Browns here. So, sorry, guys. All right. Next game, at Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. I've got the Browns losing this game 24-20. I was back and forth in this game, but I think on the road the Browns do get a close loss. It's a close game. Maybe Winston leads the Buccaneers down with like a minute left and scores and wins the game. Maybe that happens. Next game, at the Steelers. I don't think there's any way the Browns are going into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. I got Steelers in this game 35-17. So yeah, not much to say there. Next game, at home against the Chiefs. Now, I'm going to say this. Patrick Mahomes, I think one day he will be a very good quarterback. This year, I don't think he's going to be as good. And with this game being in Cleveland, and I've actually got the Browns picking up a win here, 21-17 over the Chiefs. I think the Browns might score with 30 seconds left or something, but I think the Browns can do it. Pick up their 3rd win of the season. Next game at home against the Falcons. I'm sorry, Browns, you're not beating the Falcons. 38-20, Falcons win. All right, next game at the Bengals. Now I've got the Browns picking up another win here. Actually, their first road win of the year, and their first road win, and I don't know how long it might be 2 or 3 years, but I've got them winning 17-14 over the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are a very good football team, and I mean I just don't see I see like the Browns potentially finishing ahead of the Bengals. Now in my predictions, I'll have to decide that depending on what the Bengals schedule looks like, but yeah, I got them winning this game 17-14. Next game at the Texans. Now this is sort of where the Browns are sitting pretty at 4-7 right now. It's a lot prettier than the last 2 years. And I mean, if they can rattle off 5 straight wins, maybe they get a shot at the playoffs. But at the Texans, a young Deshaun Watson returning, he's going to be good. I've got Browns losing 34-24. Although putting up 24 points against a defense like the Texans, that's no underachievement. Like, I think the Browns will put on one heck of a fight. They might even give the Texans a scare for a while. But 34-24 Texans win. Next game at home against the Panthers. And I don't know. This just kind of seems like a Browns-like thing to do. It looks like a winnable game, but then they get absolutely crushed. I got Panthers winning 37-17. I think the Panthers might actually be a pretty decent team this year. They might have a shot at winning the NFC South this year, so I don't know. But obviously I'm going to be doing the AFC North first, AFC South, I'll probably do the AFC East next, which features my Dolphins and the other 3 teams that I don't like. Next game at the Broncos. Now, that Broncos defense, I think, is going to be much better. Bradley Chubb is going to improve it, and I think this is a low-scoring game on the road, though, for the Browns. It's a loss. Final score, I got the Broncos winning 14-10. Maybe Case Keenum throws a couple of late touchdowns, and Broncos win 14-10. And that puts the they're 4-10 now, so that pretty much knocks them out of playoff contention. Next game at home against the Bengals, and I don't think the Bengals are going to be very good, and this might seem crazy, I've got Bengals winning this game 28-17. I think they go in and they want revenge for that earlier loss, and they're fighting to not finish worst in the division. And I think this is a game that really decides if they're not worst in the division and they lose. And then the final week of the season at the Baltimore Ravens. And I think, all right, hear me out. Maybe Joe Flacco plays the whole season. Maybe he doesn't. I think week 17, the Ravens are not in playoff contention anymore. All right. I think this is where they kind of show off their new toy in Lamar Jackson. And I've actually got Lamar Jackson leading the Ravens to a victory. So your final score 20-10 Ravens. I don't think the Browns look as good on the road as they did at home earlier in the year against the Ravens. I think, Lamar Jackson shows off his dynamicness, and I really think Lamar Jackson will be a good quarterback. But overall, I've got the Browns' final record this season being 4-12, which is much improved. After a 1-31 combined record, going 4-12, showing improvement, and I think maybe that slight improvement saves Hugh Jackson's job. And next year, you might still roll with Tyrod Taylor, as I think he'll have a decent season, or you might go ahead and go to Baker Mayfield. But personally, I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Like, that's just my opinion, Like, maybe at some point you see him play this season. If Tyrod Taylor struggles, But overall, Browns go 4-12. That's my prediction. And I think next I'm going to be doing the Steelers possibly. I'll be doing another AFC North team next, so stay tuned for that. Peace.